Welcome to the Locked On Wizards podcast. It's your host, the real Ed Oliver, and the Washington Wizards found a way to bounce back, beating the Suns 97-72. We're going to talk about it. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Is your host, the real Ed Oliver, and you guys can follow me on Twitter at EDTOOFLATT. I just want to thank you guys for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline that has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. So the Wizards bounced back and did a complete 180 here after being blown out. The first half, they were blown out of the water by the Detroit Pistons, and they made a valiant effort and came back. This time, they put the nail in the coffin early against the Phoenix Suns. They smelled blood. They went for the kill. They were aggressive from the start. The Suns are an inferior team compared to the Pistons team with Jalen Duren, Jaden Ivey, Isaiah Stewart, who started many games for the Pistons last season. That summer league, the Pistons they have one of the best summer league teams in the summer league, basically, if Jaden Ivey stays healthy. No knock against the Suns roster. They just don't have any lottery picks on the roster. I'm not even sure if the Suns even had a first-round pick, to be honest with you. I didn't see any first-round pick on that Suns roster at all. But I think the Wizards, they took care of business. They came in, they did what they were supposed to do, and they took care of business. 97-72. Looking at some of the numbers, they didn't miss a free throw tonight. 23 for 23 from the field. And Vernon Carey said it Vernon Carey had a heck of a game. He had a double-double tonight. I thought he played really well. He definitely was the player of the game, in my opinion. I thought he was a stud. I do want to go over some studs and duds or players who stood out. I do want to name some guys that I thought stood out tonight against the Phoenix Suns. I thought Vernon Carey was certainly one of those guys. But what stood out to me from a team standpoint, I just thought they were better defensively. Vernon Carey said on a sideline interview with a NBA TV reporter was that they got the jitters out, and you can kind of tell. Johnny Davis included was a guy that had some jitters, and you could kind of tell that Johnny Davis had some jitters today, but I thought he played more confidently, was a little bit more decisive. I'll talk about Johnny Davis later on, probably in the second segment. And then at the end of today's show, I'll get to the chat because we are live once again. So I'll get to you guys' comments in the third segment of the recap of the Summer League game today. So the Wizards are 1-1. So just going over the stats and the numbers, they were 8 for 23 from the three-point line, 34% from the three-point line. The Suns shot 5 for 23 from the three-point line. The Wizards shot 23 free throws. The Suns shot 33 free throws, 23 for 33. So the Wizards they out-rebounded the Suns 42-34. That stood out to me as well. The Wizards had 14 assists, which is fine. So I thought they just did a solid job playing team basketball today. They moved the basketball. Jaime Echenique and Vernon Carey, both of the Wizards bigs. And, you heard that they signed Taj Gibson. So I don't know if Jaime Echenique and Vernon Carey heard that. They were like, hey, we got to step our game up. And it starts in summer league for those guys to develop and get better. So I thought they did a heck of a job doing that. 4 guys for the Wizards are in double figures. Johnny Davis made it to double figures scoring tonight. Vernon Carey with 15 points. Jaime Echenique with 12 points. And Tyler Hall with 11 points. So 4 guys in double figures for the Washington Wizards tonight. So once again, I just thought they took care of business. I thought they played well defensively. They had their hands in the passing lane as well, causing turnovers. And I thought they moved the ball well inside out. And I just thought it was a solid game for the Wizards. And they took care of business. So I really like what I saw from the guys, especially Vernon Carey. I want to say I already talked about Jaime Echenique. Devin Dotson gave some solid minutes playing with energy. Tyler Hall knocked down shots, 3 for 4 from the three-point line. Henry Perrier, I'm probably mispronouncing his first name, but he threw a really nice alley-oop to Vernon Carey. And I thought they set the tone giving the ball to Vernon Carey. Vernon Carey really has become their number one option. I thought it would be Johnny Davis coming out of the gate, but they've given the ball to Vernon Carey. There's been a high dosage of Vernon Carey, just giving him the ball in the high post, the low post, posting up old school big man basketball. They've been giving him the ball. And he's been rewarding the guards who have been giving him the basketball, and he's been finishing well. Isaiah Todd 3 points tonight, 1 for 3 from the 3-point line, 21 minutes tonight. We'll talk about him a little bit later. It was good to see some other guys get some minutes, like Pat Spencer. You know his story. He went to Northwestern, played lacrosse. He had 4 points in 6 minutes and 5 boards. Thought he did a heck of a job out there. Zaggers. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing his name as well, but he's from Latvia. He had 2 points, and some guys got to get some minutes tonight. But McCall was the only guy that did not play tonight, and I thought he played really, really well yesterday. So that was a head scratcher, honestly, tonight. But I thought a lot of guys played hard. Quentin Jackson played well tonight too. I really liked his energy and how he got into the passing lanes. But I do want to get to some guys who stood out. But before I do that, this episode is brought to you by Bet Online. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your betting needs, sports betting needs, and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's NHL playoffs and Major League Baseball. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. And BetOnline.net remains the best spot for all of your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. BetOnline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite sports and events, including MMA, boxing, and golf. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, so let's get to some guys who stood out, some studs for me. Basically kind of just name some guys, but I'm looking at my notes that I wrote down. First quarter, Vernon Carey was very aggressive. Like that a lot. Craig Sword had a nice take to the basket as well. I wrote that down in my notes in the first quarter. In the second quarter, Quentin Jackson had a nice steal and a dunk. Jordan Goodwin had his hands in the passing lane. I thought he did a good job of that. But I guess I'll get to Johnny Davis here really quickly, our first round pick, 10th pick of the draft. I really want to see them get the ball to him in the post, in the high post. When he got the ball on the right block in the low post, I thought he did a good job. He got the ball against Cam Taylor, who was a guy from the DMV area. He got the ball in the post against Cam Taylor. It took him a while. He's still hesitant. I think he's still thinking a little too much. The game is starting to slow down a little bit for Johnny Davis, but he's still not being aggressive. He's still not being decisive. He did shoot it. He made 1 3 tonight, so I was ecstatic to see him knock down a 3, because sometimes you just got to see one go down. You got to see one go down. But he got the ball in the low post. Took him a while, made a nice drop step, and finished on the other side, made a reverse layup. So I think they really need to get him the ball. You watch his Wisconsin film, and a lot of his game was really predicated in the mid-range and in the low post, just getting that matchup against smaller guards. He played quarterback in high school, so he has that stronger build, and he's a physical guy that plays through contact. So I think they really need to get him the ball in the post where, he's not getting a lot of separation with his first step right now against guys right now in the summer league. And I think a way they can get him comfortable and get him some more shots up is by giving him the ball in the elbow, the right elbow, the left elbow, or in the low post right now. I think that would open it up for Johnny Davis's game at the moment. Johnny Davis, every time he went left, he got ripped in the first quarter. There were times where they swiped and they hit the ball from behind his hand and they poked it out. The Suns did that twice in the first half. Johnny Davis, he had a charge as well. He missed 1 wide open 3, but I was happy that he took the shot and did not hesitate at all. But there was one good play in the first half where he drove baseline, where I want to say it was after a timeout, where he got the ball on the left baseline. He swept through, went to the basket, and finished strong. I like that a lot. Isaiah Thomas talked about Johnny Davis letting the game come to him. I do want to see him be more aggressive like he was at Wisconsin. And just go get it, because he was super aggressive. He was uber aggressive. You can see that dog in him in college. And I know it's a different game, but right now he just doesn't look like that uber aggressive guy that has the dog in him that doesn't see a shot that he doesn't like. But I do understand that he's a smart, high IQ basketball player that does let the game come to him. So I definitely understand that as well. Johnny Davis hit a wide open 3. I talked about that. The Wizards went on an 11-0 run in the second quarter. I already talked about the post up. Jaime Echenique had a couple of and-ones in the third quarter. I like that a lot. I wrote down Tyler Hall can shoot the 3. Thought he did a good job shooting the 3. He doesn't hesitate to shoot the 3 at all. He's knocking it down. Devin Dotson, Quentin, the lineup that I liked out there tonight, it wasn't a small ball lineup. It was Devin Dotson, Quentin Jackson. I thought he was in the passing lanes. Quentin Jackson tonight, looking at his numbers, he was 3 for 3 from the field. and had 8 points. A nice steal and a nice dunk on a fast break. And he's really athletic. He's a lean, wiry guy, but he plays hard. 8 points, 3 for 3 tonight. And I want to look up how many steals he had tonight as well. He had 2 steals, so he's very active. He had a plus 19 plus minus. Everybody's going to have a high plus minus because we won the game by 25 points. So you can take plus minus for whatever it's worth. But the impact that he had out there already, he hit a plus 19 on plus minus. Johnny, I thought he made a nice pass to Craig Sword as well. Just bringing down some plays that I saw from Johnny Davis. He made a nice pass to Craig Sword, and Craig Sword finished for an and one as well. Johnny Davis made a nice drive into the lane. Shot it in the mid range where he's super, super comfortable. The ball rattled in, and I thought, that was where it was at best getting him in his spot to be successful there. So the 5 guys that I thought stood out tonight was, of course, Vernon Carey, 4 for 9 from the field, 11 boards, 15 points. And another guy that I thought stood out was Jaime Echenique, of course, and he played well last year for the Summer League for the Wizards as well. I thought he was the Summer League MVP last year. 12 points, 6 boards, 4 for 8 from the field. Another guy that stood out was Tyler Hall. That's 3 guys right there. Quentin Jackson, he gets a game ball from me. He was a stud tonight. Craig Sword as well. I love his energy. 9 points tonight, 3 for 3 from the field, and 1 rebound, 1 assist. When Craig Sword had to come in when the Wizards were hit by health and safety protocols. I thought he played really, really well as well in that game against the Heat, where he had to step in and play a couple games. Jordan Goodwin didn't get a lot of opportunities tonight. 9 minutes tonight, 3 points, 4 boards. I still liked his energy and how he got in the passing lane. Same thing with Devin Dotson. Devin Dotson didn't put a lot of points up, but he had 4 points, 6 assists, and 5 boards. Almost had a 5-5-5 game. I want to see how many steals he got tonight too. But I know he was very active in the passing lane. He had 1 steal. It was a plus 23 and plus minus. So those are some of the guys that I saw that stood out tonight. Johnny Davis is not. He wasn't a stud for me tonight. 4 for 11 from the field, 2 for 2 from the free throw line. Still just not being aggressive and still not decisive. So I still want to see some improvement for Johnny Davis. I thought he improved from the first game, but he's still not decisive. He's still not getting the separation. He's still struggling to create and get a shot for himself right now. So I do want to see improvements for him on the offense side of the ball. But I thought he played pretty well defensively. Wes Unseld Jr. said it as well. He's not the offensive game. He's struggling right now, but his character is showing that he's not fazed by struggling offensively right now. So, I thought Johnny Davis had a lot better of a game today, but still not a stud or one of the standouts for tonight. So, but all right, we're going to get to the chat here really quickly. I just want to see what you guys thought about the game. But before we do get to that, this episode is brought to you by Rock Auto. With the ever-increasing numbers of makes and models, it's now impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts you need. Why endure often pointless or seemingly intimidating questioning like, is your Odyssey an LX or an EX? And wait while the person behind the counter orders the parts on their computer. Choosing the only brand their warehouse happens to carry, you have computers with access to rockauto.com at home and in your pocket. Save time and money when using Rock Auto. Rock Auto is a family business serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years. Rock Auto prices are reliably low for every customer. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck. Right locked on in there. How did you hear about us box so they know we sent you? Amazing selection, reliably low prices. All the parts your car will ever need from rockauto.com. All right, so about Johnny Davis, I said this yesterday. I still think he's going to be a solid player in the NBA. I mean, his comparison is Josh Hart. I've seen Chris Duarte, and I think he's going to be a high-energy guy that can come in and make an impact. Now, it might be more of a developmental process than what I thought. I thought he was a guy that could come in and hit the ground running. I'm not going to overreact from just 2 summer league games. There's about 2 or 3 summer league games left. Who knows? He could go out there and drop 20 or 25 in the next 25 in the third game, and then 20 in the fourth game. Who knows? Who knows how things shake out? If he hits one shot and he gets hot and brings his confidence up, who knows? But so far, he has been underwhelming, just to be honest. I'm just not seeing the same aggressiveness that I saw in college for sure. And I know a lot of guys are looking for their own shots in summer league. I know that's the excuse that a lot of people use, but I feel like the summer league is an environment that would thrive for Johnny Davis. So, but all that being said, I thought he played a lot better today. I thought he played a lot better today for sure, but I'm still expecting more. I really am. And I do think the coaches should definitely try to give him the ball in the mid-high post or on the block, because he's about 6'5". He's usually going to be taller than some of the guys that he's playing against in the summer league. So I think he should definitely get the ball in the post for the most part. So But I'm going to get to the chat here, and then we'll wrap it up for today. All right. So this is from Uptown Dre. He says, "Yo, Edo," with the strong arm emoji. Thank you for coming in, Uptown Dre. He's always in the chat. That's my guy. Uptown Dre says, "Our bigs were solid. Vernon Carey, Echenique, and both plus 90 and plus 16. Yes, they both played really well tonight. I love how they imposed their will. I thought they both played a lot better than what they did against the Detroit Pistons. Jaime Echenique, he's from Colombia, the first Colombian NBA player. Isaiah Thomas talked about him a lot today. I had some raving and glowing reviews for Jaime Echenique. Jaime Echenique, he likes to do that pump fake and then lean into your body and go up and finish strong. He's really good at doing that. And like I said, it should be a competition for that third big man spot. We already know Porzingis is going to start at the 5. We already know that Gafford is going to be your backup 5. And then who's that third center? Taj Gibson just signed for a veteran minimum deal. He has the same agent as Bradley Beal. His name is Mark Bada. I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing his name as well. Bartelstein. I'm going to read the contract details real quick. I did say I was going to talk about the contract for Taj Gibson, but basically in a nutshell, what I'm getting at is that, hey, maybe one of these guys can step in and compete with Taj Gibson for that third center spot. So this is from Josh Robbins from The Athletic. He says, Taj Gibson will sign via the minimum salary exception. In his case, for a player of his long tenure in the league, the minimum salary is approximately $2.9 million, but only $1.8 million of his salary will count towards the Wizards salary cap figure. So that's good news for the Wizards. So Taj Gibson is going to get paid $2.9 million, the veteran minimum, but only $1.8 million of his salary will count towards the Wizards salary cap figure. And it's funny that after Ted Leonsis said that we're one free agent away, minutes later they signed Taj Gibson. So that was just a little joke there that I made, but it is all good. So yeah, I like what I saw from Jaime. I like what I saw from Vernon Carey. They're both old school bigs. They don't shoot the 3. They're not both really above the rim. They're not really lob threats, even though Vernon Carey did catch a nice lob that was thrown from Perrier Henry. And that was a nice play. I thought the coach did a better job. I'm sorry I don't know the coach of the summer league. I got to look it up. But I thought he did a heck of a job this game compared to the Pistons game. I thought he did a good job calling plays. The offense wasn't the offense was very clogged. Not a lot of ball movement, not a lot of passes. It just looked like it had no rhyme or reason in the first half at all. No nuance or rhyme or reason. I thought it looked like they had a legitimate offense where they were calling plays. They knew what they wanted to do. They had a game plan tonight, and I thought they executed it really well. Setting screens, back screens, different things like that. Bill Caesar said, what was Johnny's stat line? Johnny Davis tonight, he was 4 for 11 from the field, so 36%. 1 for 3 from the 3-point line, 2 for 2 from the free throw line, had 4 rebounds. Remember, he had 8.5 rebounds in per game in his sophomore year, led all guards in the Big Ten in rebounding. 1 steal, 1 assist, 3 turnovers, 1 foul, 11 points was a plus 15. So 4 for 11 from the field is not good at all. That's below average, 36%, but played 24 minutes as well. So I thought he played better. I thought he played better tonight. Benz says, you're right about Johnny Davis. I feel like he's playing tight, like he's nervous. You can tell that he's not confident in his handles, and he just be hesitant at times. He played better today. Yeah, very hesitant. I think he has to get used to the NBA 3-point range for one. I could tell that Corey Kispert struggled in the beginning of the year with the 3-point range, the adjustment or the difference of the NBA 3-point range compared to the college 3-point range. I thought you could tell that Corey Kispert was adjusting to that. You could kind of tell Johnny Davis is still adjusting for one, but he did hit a wide open 3. He has to adjust to NBA closeouts as well. You're just not going to get a whole bunch of space. There's times where you get an inch of space and you're just going to have to let it fly. And he finally did that in one shot. He just let it fly. He knocked it down. So I was happy to see that. But you can tell he just looks a little nervous. I know he had the Taco Bell commercial, so there's some pressure there, but he just has to get the jitters out and play with confidence. He stepped up in big moments for Wisconsin, man. And teams where they played against top 25 teams, I know he averaged at least 23 points a game when they played against teams that were top 25, in the top 25, like your Purdue's of the world, Iowa in the Big Ten. They played a lot of good teams in the Big Ten for sure. So I just want to see him get the jitters out and play with confidence. That's all I want to see. In the summer league, can he play point guard? I thought he did a good job one time when he brought the ball up. It was a screen and roll. He threw the ball to somebody. Can't remember. I think they got fouled or they missed a layup. And I thought he had a nice pass to Craig Swart as well. So is he a natural point guard? He's not. But, why not experiment? Why not experiment? You see other teams experiment. Isaiah Stewart yesterday was shooting a whole bunch of threes. So why not experiment with Johnny Davis to see what he can do at multiple positions? Uptown Dre says Devon Dotson didn't shoot well, but he had 5 boards, 6 assists, a steal, 4 points on the team high, plus 23. Yeah, Devon Dotson played well. I love his energy. He changes the game. He seriously does. When he comes in, him, Quentin Jackson, Dotson, Quentin Jackson, and there's another guard. I want to say Craig Swart. They impact the game. Jordan Goodwin impacts the game defensively as well. Just having your hands in the intangibles, the things that you can't see on a stat sheet, getting your hands in the passing lanes, just being a pest, picking up from full court. Devin Dotson is one of those guys. That's why I like him right now. I think he's been playing. I think he's had a solid 2 games. Same thing with Quentin Jackson at a Texas A&M undrafted free agent. But yeah, that's a good stat right there, Uptown Dre. Bill Season says, what was Johnny's stat line? I already talked about that. Uptown Dre says Craig Swart and Jackson were perfect from the field and the free throw line. Craig Swart, yes, he was. He was 3 for 3 from the field. Didn't shoot the ball much, but yeah, he was impactful. 3 for 3 from the free throw line. Quentin Jackson 2 for 2, so they had a perfect game. 2 for 2 from the 3-point line. From the free throw line, and 3 for 3 from the field. So they had perfect games tonight. Let's see here. The chat went a little fast here. Benz says the Suns team was garbage, and I'm glad we handled business. Carey looked like a man amongst boys, but since he can't stretch the floor, he won't play come regular season. Yeah, that's the concern. He can't stretch the floor. Thomas Bryant signed with the Lakers. He was a guy that was capable of stretching the floor, but Thomas Bryant could barely move his feet, and he wasn't finishing well coming back from the ACL injury. So that's the concern with Vernon Carey, is that he's an old school big. Same thing with Jaime Echenique. They don't stretch the floor, and they can barely move their feet. So when they're switched onto a guard, it's going to be a struggle for them. They're most likely going to play drop coverage because they can barely move their feet. So defensively, that's why we had to go small ball against the Pistons, because they were just very athletic and they were very fast. So that's the thing with Jaime and Vernon Carey. They're both similar in a sense with their build, and they have the same type of athleticism where they're not going to jump over you, but they can overpower you. But it's an old school kind of thing, because how many times are we really, other than Porzingis, how many times are we going to give the ball to a guy with their back to the basket right now? Hector 1218 says we can't draft for our lives. A lot of people feel that way. I think we get solid players, but we don't get great players. We get solid players, we don't get great players. We don't hit home runs. We hit singles and doubles. We don't hit home runs. I think Denny's a solid player. I think Rui's a good player. Corey Kispert is a solid player. He's a specialist. That you can name guys that we missed out on. I named some guys yesterday: Bones Highland, Halliburton, and Tyrese Maxey. Each draft, you can pinpoint a guy that the Wizards should have taken. And you can hindsight is 2020. You can do this every year with every draft. But Tommy Shepard, he doesn't like to take risks. He's a high floor kind of guy. Johnny Davis is a high floor guy. Corey Kispert is a high floor kind of guy. Rui Hachimura is a high floor kind of guy. Doesn't take many risks. Doesn't really draft guys that are uber athletic either. And I think the Wizards lack athleticism right now. He doesn't really get guys that can create a lot of separation to create shots for themselves either. So next draft, I think Tommy Shepard really has to look at athleticism and guys that can create a shot for themselves and guys that can shoot the 3, because we struggle to shoot the 3 for one. So I'm not going to say he can't draft for his life, but Tommy's been solid, hasn't been great, hasn't been awful, hasn't been great. Probably like a C+, B- in drafting. If you want to be realistic with Tommy Shepard, I think the guys he's drafted are okay, but they just don't knock your socks off. They just don't. And like I said yesterday, I haven't seen any all-star potential from Corey, Rui, or Denny, and watching Johnny Davis right now, which is very, very early. So I'm not going to comment too much on Johnny, but just solid mid-level drafting, in my opinion. Ben says, I like Dotson over Henry at point guard. I think he should be starting moving forward. Yeah, they can make a switch. I already said that. I said that yesterday. If they want to change up the lineup, then definitely do it. Or just give guys more playing time that are playing better than others. Ben says Johnny Davis had 11 points. Yeah, that's the stat line. We already talked about that. Uptown Dre, bringing up the stat line again. We already talked about that. Uptown Dre says Devin Dawson's play was solid. Filled up the stat sheet. He did. I thought he did a lot of things that you can't teach. A lot of things that you don't see on the stat sheet either, for sure. Bobby Smith says, Ed is the man, exclamation point. I thank you, man. I thank you, man, for subscribing and watching for sure. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate that, Bobby Smith. I really do. Scott Ramon Seguro Muscati. And Kid Cudi is in his profile picture. He gives the strong arm emoji. Take that, exclamation point, with one of my favorite movies ever, Don't Be a Menace. Says, been a fan of Vernon Carey for a while. I think he can play the 4. I would not put him at the 4, to be honest. I would not do that. I think foot speed is not there. I always say this. If they have to play against the Boston Celtics and Jason Tatum's at the 4, Jaylen Brown is at the 4, Kevin Durant is at the 4, it's a matchup nightmare for him. It's a matchup nightmare. So I would not play Vernon Carey at the 4. Trying to think who else would be a matchup nightmare. Harrison Barnes, guys like that would be a matchup nightmare for Vernon Carey. So I wouldn't put him at the 4. I just wouldn't. I think he's best at the 5. He's an old school 5. He's old school 5. NBA Land says, should Johnny Davis play in the G League? That's a good question. Just because you play in the G League is not a bad thing. I talked about James Bouknight yesterday. He was a really good guard coming out of UConn. Somewhat similar styles, shooting guards that were somewhat 3-level scorers that were high volume shooters as well. Right now, I wouldn't be surprised if he plays in the G League. I did not think that before because I listening to Tommy Shepard and Wes Unseld Jr. They just talked about they wanted Johnny to play a lot, and right now I would not be surprised if he plays in the G League. I would not be surprised, and it's not a bad thing. We've seen a lot of guys play in the G League and play well. Monte Morris, who we just picked up, had played his whole rookie season in the G League. Keldon Johnson played in the G League for the Spurs, and he's playing really well. I want to say Jordan Poole played in the G League a little bit too, and that really helped him out for sure. So there's a lot of guys that played in the G League that were first-round picks. They've come back after playing in the G League, and they played a lot better. So it could be a help for him just to let the game slow down and for his confidence to come out. Now, would it be somewhat disappointing? Yeah, it would be. But I think it can help his confidence. But I think I will wait and see on that. I don't want to get too much into the future on Johnny Davis. JP says, "Hey, let's go Wizards win." Yes. Did they get over 100? Oh, they almost got over 100 points. So I don't think they're doing the Papa John special, the Wiz 50. I don't think they're doing that for the Summer League, but they almost did it. This is from Doge 3Ms. I don't see the high floor. Yeah, I don't see the high floor. I see a high floor. I don't see a high ceiling. I'll say that. I don't see a high ceiling, but I see a high floor. He's a guy that's not going to be a bust. Like the bust potential, I don't see any bust potential in Johnny Davis. I think he's going to give you steady Eddie play. He's going to play hard on defense. He's going to rebound the ball. He's going to knock down some mid-range jumpers for you, which I haven't seen yet in the Summer League yet. He's going to make some good passes. He's going to make some smart plays, and he's going to give you a lot of energy and effort for sure. The confidence is not there yet. It's just not. The aggressiveness is not there yet. It's just not. Being honest. Gene Woody, let's go Orioles. I guess the Orioles won. I think they've been on a winning streak. I haven't really followed baseball a lot this year, to be honest. But I think the Orioles have been doing solid. I could be wrong. Uptown Dre says we have New Orleans on Wednesday at 6 p.m. and the Pacers on Friday at 9 p.m. So that's a good matchup. Dyson Daniels struggled the other day. He was 0 for 5 from the field. So Dyson Daniels, a lot of Wizards fans love them some Dyson Daniels. And I think I always liked Dyson Daniels. I just didn't love him. I think he would have been for me at one point. I did not want to pick him at 10. I thought that was a little too high. Tari Eason's been playing really, really well. He's had 2 double-doubles so far. I know the Wizards did have interest in drafting Tari Eason. I thought that would have been a good pick for them. That might have been a little too high at pick 10. Ochai Agbaji has been playing really well in the Summer League so far in about 1 or 2 games. Malachi Branham had a good game for the Spurs. Blake Wesley had a good game for the Spurs. So you don't want to base Jalen Williams from the Thunder has played really well for the Spurs as well. I mean, for the Thunder, those are some guys that were picked after Johnny Davis. And I would have been fine with all those guys. AJ Griffin, I haven't seen him play yet, but Dyson Daniels, which was a favorite for the Wizards. Looking at his numbers yesterday, he was 0 for 5 from the field. Only played 8 minutes though. I don't know why he only played 8 minutes. He had 1.1 rebound, so he did not play well. So Johnny Davis is not the only guy that did not have a slam dunk Summer League debut. Doge 3M says Johnny is not ready for the league yet. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that just yet. I think it's a little too early. I know he did not play well. He's been underwhelming so far, very underwhelming in the Summer League. But I would not say he's not ready for the league yet. I don't think that's fair to say that just yet. Ben says Tommy is average at best at drafting. You're right. We need athleticism on this team, Bailey. Yeah, we just get overmatched athletically. Even watching the Rockets game last year where Kevin Porter Jr. hit that 3-pointer to win the game, And Glenn Concert had the slip up at the end of the game when Kevin Porter Jr. hit that three to win the game. Kevin Porter Jr. overmatched us athletically. Jalen Green overmatched us athletically at the guard spot. Eric Gordon, a lot of the guys on our Kenyon Martin Jr., Kenyon Martin's son, they just look like they were just on a different tier athletically than the Washington Wizards. So they do need to get more athletic. Tommy needs to draft some more athletes for sure. Uptown Dre says, Summer League has been exciting. A lot of great player matchups and close games this weekend. Yes, the game before the Wizards with Orlando and the Kings yesterday with Keegan Murray and Paolo Banchero. That was a really good overtime game. It was. Yes, NBA Land. DeJounte Murray played in the G League as well. He did. He's an all-star now. That's a guy that I really wanted the Wizards to trade for. So if he goes into the G League, it's not the end of the world. I'll just tell people that right now. Doje 3Ms, Book Night better than Johnny. Phil, he was better in college. I disagree with that, but to each his own. I think I like Johnny Davis better than James Bouknight in college. James Bouknight was a good player, though. I'm a Maryland fan, and Maryland did a really good job in the NCAA tournament, slowing down James Bouknight. Daryl Morcell did a good job, and I thought Johnny Davis was unstoppable in some games. Bouknight had his fair share of unstoppable games, too. Bouknight has a more separate. He creates more separate. I'll give you that. Bouknight is a better ball handler than Johnny Davis and creates more separation. That's some of the knock I'll give him. That's some of the edge I'll give Bouknight over Johnny Davis. But I think all around game, I think Johnny Davis is they're similar. I think Johnny Davis I'll probably take Johnny Davis over James Bouknight. But like I said, to each his own. To each his own. Stuart, we'll knock out these last three questions and then we'll wrap it up tonight. I know it's Sunday, so I just want everybody to enjoy their time with their families. Stuart O'Flaherty says, hopefully Tommy Shepard is building a team like a football team, build a deep roster with solid role players, and then find a quarterback. So I'm doing a mailbag episode tomorrow and Tuesday before the game on Wednesday. So please submit more questions if you guys have any. Leave them down in the comment section, or you can DM me on Twitter. You can email me at eoliver.realestate@gmail.com. You can add me on Twitter. Submit questions, anything you would like to do. Any way you want to submit a question, you can certainly do it. Ben says, no shame in playing in the G League, especially if you're not getting quality minutes in the NBA. Yeah, no shame at all. It's not ideal for your 10th pick of the draft. Yes, it would be a disappointment, but in the long run for developmental process, it would not be the end of the world, I'll say that. But it would be disappointing. It would be disappointing, especially after trading KCP. I mean, you bring in Will Barton, and you still have Monte Morris, but you don't really have a backup shooting guard behind Bradley Beal. We just need somebody to relieve. Bradley Beal hasn't had a good backup shooting guard in a long time, to be honest. We've cycled through so many backup shooting guards back in the Martell Webster days, Jordan McRae, Marcus Thornton, CJ Miles. So many backup shooting guards for Bradley Beal. We just haven't really been able to hit. I thought Martell Webster did a good job of being a backup shooting guard. I thought Marcus Thornton did a good job at times. There's some other backup shooting guards that I can name as well. Like Austin Rivers was not a good backup shooting guard for the Wizards, or point guard, whatever he was supposed to be. But we just have not been able to find a backup shooting guard for Bradley Beal in his tenure here, really. I think Martell Webster and Marcus Thornton were the best backup shooting guards for Brad and Jordan McRae here and there. So, but Archie, I just want to thank you guys for listening and making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. Now, for your second listen, get up to date on the latest news and rumors in the NBA in just 30 minutes. Every day with Locked On NBA. Locked On NBA, your daily NBA update in just 30 minutes. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure you guys hit the notification bell. Hail to the Wizards. Peace.